Hello, 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 hello. Is anybody out there? Welcome to the school bus channel. That is what we have tonight. We have school buses. Or at least that's kind of what they look like to me. Gimli, glad to see you. So welcome to the frozen stream of yellow tank school buses, or whatever you want to call it, what we're doing tonight. I turn this down just a smidgen more. So yeah, it's super cold here in Oklahoma. Ridiculously beyond all measure cold in Oklahoma, at least by our standards. We're not used to -2. We're used to 102. That's more like our speed. Oh, same in Ohio. Yeah, I can only imagine. Except, I mean, I've traveled through Ohio. I lived in Kentucky for a little while, which is kind of vaguely in the same area of the country. And so, yeah, I kind of expect Ohio to be cold, especially in the winter, obviously. But gosh, Oklahoma, no, not what we're used to. So yeah, it's been an interesting week. Lots of ice, lots of snow for us. It's just crazy. Yeah. I got in my car this morning, and it said the outside temperature was -2 degrees. So I took a picture of it because I've never seen my car say anything like that. Or I mean, I guess I've seen it that cold here before because I've lived here a long time, but not in recent memory, not at all. So yeah, 20. That's kind of warm compared to us for once. But we'll turn that around. I think by Saturday we're supposed to maybe be up in the 40s again. Is what it is. You know, it's kind of nice for a change of pace. They shut down my work for half a day today and a couple of days for the rest of the week. So, you know, it's kind of like a weird little snowpocalypse vacation. Hopefully I'll get some painting done. Hopefully. Speaking of painting, that's what we have going on right here. We have the school buses, the heavily armored, highly armed school buses. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of interesting. This Vindicator. No, that's a 40K tank. God bless. Now I can't remember what this thing is called. This is the Outlaw. And this is something I'm going to have to look up. I can't think of what its name is. Anyway, it's funny. I primered it with black and a little bit of gray and some white. And I don't know about you, but I can see it looks very green. Now, some of that's probably the camera. But where you can see some of the black shining through here on these treads and on these turrets where I didn't, the transparent yellow didn't quite cover up all the black. It looks kind of green. And to me, and what that tells me is that the black that I'm using and the gray that I'm using have a lot of blue in them. And so when the transparent yellow sits down on top of them, you can see the light shining back through. Looks green because of the way the yellow transforms the blue. Yep, 100%. I don't even know. Well, I mean, I guess they made those crazy super black colors. Maybe those things are black, like a balanced black. But I mean, black is really, I think, a combination of a lot of colors. So I guess in this case, there's a majority of blue inside my blacks, which is interesting because it's a Stynylrez paint. It is where are you at? Stynylrez primer. You can't read it anymore because I've destroyed this bottle, but yeah, Stynylrez. Ilmarin, thank goodness. Ooh, Gimli, the Chimera paints. So I have heard a lot about those. I don't know much about them, but a lot of people like them. And so I'd be real curious to hear what your experiences are. Tell them here or over in Discord or somewhere, man. I would really like to hear what you think about those. For for Valentine's Day. I got some new paints as well. I got a different company's paints. I got Monument Hobbies paints, the Pro Acryl paints, which I've tinkered with a tiny little bit, but I'm excited to give them a try. I'm not going to be using them tonight because the sets that I have didn't quite have all the sets available when I got these, so I'm missing some, and there's a lot of yellows that are in there, and obviously I'm painting a bunch of yellow for my CAV CON force. Incredibly vibrant. I really, really, really want to see something you paint with those, Gimli. Especially, if you have like a way of comparing it with a previous miniature, like a blue that you might compare. Yeah, that would be perfect, Gimli. I would love to. I know you paint a lot of things for competitions, so yeah. If I promise I won't share it with anybody, except me. Scale 75. Now those I have painted with Cthulhu. Those are really good paints. I like those a lot. I admired the Pro Acryl paints, and I decided I wanted to try them, and my wife overheard that, and so she Valentine's Day'd me with Pro Acryl paints. It was a banner. It was a banner Valentine's Day. I got that, and I got a Switch. I was a good boy this year, apparently. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun. Yes, that's me. Yeah, absolutely. Gimli. I didn't realize, when I got online that I needed, well, it's actually SALYERS, but yeah, basically that's me. I didn't realize I needed a brand properly, so I just have a million different names. Like I didn't sign up for Twitch and Facebook and all that stuff at the same time, so I should probably give some thought to, I don't know, finding a way to make those things more properly coordinated. So anyway, yeah, I started working on my CAV CON force a little bit, getting some of the primering done. This is my shadow, one of my shadows. Here's my razor. Oop, get him on screen. That would help, I think, maybe. And I'm going to be painting them yellow tonight, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of airbrushing tonight. All right, Gimli, I'll check it out. I'll look at it after the stream tonight as soon as I get off. I promise. I'm excited to see what it looks like. So yeah, it's really funny. It didn't occur to me when I decided to do this, but I started painting these tanks, right? And I'm like, holy crackamole, this is a school bus tank, or it's going to be a school bus tank, because this is not as bright a yellow as I intend it to be when I'm finished. And it's really funny because I work for a company that manufactures school buses. We make a lot of school buses, big yellow school buses, mostly. Other colors too, but so which one has capped frizzle? I don't know what that means, Gimli. So if you're talking to me, I'm confused, but that's a pretty normal state with me. Anyway, yeah, I just thought it was funny that these tanks basically look like school buses. And it's also kind of funny that the majority of my force is not going to get bases because, like the bases I would put them on are not as big as the tanks. So I don't have to base most of this force, which is kind of cool. Yeah, well, Ilmarin, this is probably not the place for it, but I could share you a lot of interesting stories about the different ways that you can make school buses. We've made them for the military and the FBI, and technically at that point, of course, they're not school buses, but I'll share the simplest story with you. So we have made school buses in the past that had mounting rings in the top of them for 50 caliber machine guns for the United States government. I don't know what they did with those buses, but it was pretty interesting. So that being said, I don't physically make school buses. I'm a programmer, but yeah, it's an interesting business. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we're doing here. My collections of yellows is actually not very vast. What are we exploring today, Miss Frizzle? Well, kids, today we're invading Iraq. That's funny. I don't know if that's a reference that I'm not getting. I'm not very media savvy, so it's hilarious, Gimli. It's hilarious. All right. So the two best yellows that I had for this purpose were Citadel yellows. I've got a layer paint Uriel yellow, and then I've got this air paint Flash Gits yellow. And of course I'm using these both through the airbrush. A layer paint is kind of a traditional paint, really. I read up a little bit about what layer is actually supposed to mean. And I think it means the Magical School Bus Educational Cartoon. I guess I missed that one. Yeah. Or just a childhood so long ago it was pre-technology. But let's not get into that. Let's not get too far into that. So I got these two paints. And I like them. And, you know, when I first started painting these guys, I thought about going, you know, starting out a little deeper. This is kind of like a little bit like my Almirathol unit that I painted back in the fall. And so I kind of wanted to get away from that. And so I decided I really wanted to go much, much higher yellow. So I took this orange, although I love this orange. Technically an orange flame ink by Dalla Ernani. I took it out because I wanted to start high and go higher. And so this is my base coat over the top of my Zenithal. And going with this sort of medium, slightly orangey yellow. And then I'm going to go up to this Flash Gits yellow. And then I will take this and I'm going to lighten it up. I'm hoping to find maybe an even lighter yellow somewhere in my collection. Maybe I will bring in, punch the light. Maybe I'll bring in some of this Pearl Acryl Pale Yellow and highlight with this. So I'm not going straight to white, because if I go to white, this will just become very pastel-y. And though I like pastels, I don't think I want them where I'm going. And then again, I may paint the highest highlights on. Anyway, this is definitely where we're going for now. And so that's my job tonight, is to get some more yellow on here and to hang out with you guys and bemoan how cold it is and stuff like that. Can base coat it a brown and then do yellow. Yeah, you know, that's actually an interesting idea. I've kind of gotten stuck in this Zenithal world, right? This is pretty much the way I primer everything, because I can get the, like the free shading for the most part. Now, normally I'll create a lot more separation here. Like I won't have this be as bright a white, but I want these to be very bright yellow figures when I'm done. So I brought my Zenithal up a little bit higher, but I should really probably experiment with colored primers. I see a lot of the really advanced painters like the James Wapples doing things with like colored base coats and things like that. And obviously he knows way more than I do. So there's probably something there. I just haven't gotten there yet. Neon yellow. That's interesting. Cthulhu, I don't know anywhere locally to get those. Is that a mail order only thing? I can't think of any of the local shops that carry scale 75. Oh, wow. Gimli, I just clicked on your link. That's amazing. Wow. Why are you not running this show? I don't understand. I should be watching you. This is not, well, it's because this is really a hobby thing. We're not really, I'm not here to teach anybody anything. I'm just here to show people, to hang out with you guys and paint along. Hopefully you're all painting along. All right. So, and here's the other thing, a little trick that I have. So I've really been having trouble getting my, my putty to stick. Like, I put a miniature on this putty and it just falls off. So that was driving me crazy earlier. And since these tanks, I just put a screw in the bottom of them, and I'm just going to lock my vice grips on them when I'm ready to paint them. So that's my solution here. I just drilled a hole in the bottom of my little tank, and we're going to go with that. All right, so let's get these guys out of the way here. The fleet of school buses that are popping wheelies, see, because they're standing up, need to go off to the side here and get out of the way so that we can get ready to do our thing. Yeah, I saw that picture. Good Lord, Gimli, wow. Super good. I like the look of that. All right. So today I'm going to use my Infinity CR plus my hard-earned Steenbeck. This is my favorite airbrush, but it's kind of like like a sports car. It's actually kind of hard to drive. It's finicky. It's capable of doing some amazing things. I like the way it feels. I like the way it looks. I like the way it works. But it can be a pain in the butt to drive some days. So if I end up struggling really hard, I may switch airbrushes. But I think I'll be all right. Hopefully I'll be all right. All right, so I'm going to take this Citadel Aerial Yellow Layer Paint. And I've got here, this is a little small container of this stuff, airbrush flow improver that I'm going to use to thin out this layer paint. It's really too thick to use in an airbrush, so it is. My experience, because I apparently hate myself. So, Gimli, these are for that Reaper monthly Reaper competition, or maybe it's not the right time period, but this is for a Reaper competition. Because the Hussar carries that. That's really interesting. I didn't know that, Cthulhu. I know exactly where the Hussar is. I've been there in a long time, but yeah, I will. If I get a chance, I'll have to go by there and see if I can look at this neon yellow. Quarterly competition. All right, sweet. So, let's see what we can do here. I'm just going to start out by dropping. I got 4 of these guys to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or so. It's not actually a formula, but I was painting the tanks earlier today, and so I kind of have an idea about the ratio that I need for this Citadel layer paint. But what I was going to say is, for those of you that are getting into airbrushing, I know Mere Dude, who hopefully will join us at some point in time. He recently got an airbrush. Maybe that's what he's off doing. Maybe he's airbrushing. He can't be bothered to join us tonight. You can make any paint work in an airbrush, is my experience. You just have to tinker with the mixture, right? Even really thick or inexpensive craft paints can work in an airbrush. You just gotta play with them. You gotta experiment. You gotta practice. All right, so let's see if we can get some of this paint. Get that onto the thing here. Suck a little bit of that up in there. I don't know what this thing's problem is. Why am I having trouble tonight? There we go. That's a lot of paint. That's probably enough for now. And if I need more, I can squeeze some paint out of that. I don't know. These Citadel pots are not my favorite. They're very hard to transfer paint out of. I guess they're made for using with brushes, I presume. But I mean, even this is an airbrush paint, right? It's wasteful to have to use that silly pipette on it. Get over here. Take my handy dandy brush. Stir these up. Get that mixed up pretty good. It's my cheap, inexpensive brush, so not too worried about destroying it. Do a little backflow, pinch off the air, get it to bubble back up through the chamber to kind of help just mix the part that's down inside here. Get it to backflow into that, so the paint and the flow improver mix together. Yeah, Gimli, I get it. But they make good paints, right? So, I mean, this is a really good yellow. It paints easy, and it's nice and bright, but it's still yellow. And so, I buy some of their products. It is what it is. Some tools are more expensive than others. Yeah, okay. I grabbed the right paint. I was afraid for a minute I grabbed the Flash Gets Yellow. That's not the color I really need right now. All right. So there we go. It's flowing out. Fairly clean. Get my brush ready to clean the tip. And then we can get to work. All right, get this guy. See if I get the focus right on this guy. And now we're just slapping paint everywhere. So this Thursday is, I believe, the big Stompy podcast for this month. I was talking to Ross earlier in the week. I think we're going to cover another starter faction for sure. We haven't picked which one yet, though. So maybe, if you guys have an opinion, now would be a good time to make a pitch for what you think you might like to hear us cover. When I say that, of course, I really mean hear Ross and Todd, hopefully Todd, cover. Todd has not yet responded to my request to join us. So I'm not sure he's going to be there. I doubt California is covered in ice and snow, but I guess anything's possible. Maybe he's having sympathy ice and snow troubles just to be polite and hang out with us. Oh, get that back on the screen. So like I said, right now I'm just trying to basically get down a nice, strong yellow. Then once I get this guy painted yellow, I will come in and I will highlight him with that brighter yellow that I showed you earlier. And then once I got all of that done, I will come in. This is a very simple formulaic process I have here. I'm going to wash them down, probably with some oil. With an oil wash. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I might drop the miniature. I probably will use some kind of an orange oil wash, especially if I can get something fairly strong. But in oils, that shouldn't be a problem. Oils are very color rich. This thing seems like. I know what's going on. Pardon me, I'm going to have to step out in the hallway and turn the air compressor on. I turned it off earlier and I forgot to turn it back on. I'll be right back. Sorry. Sorry about that. I am a low quality Twitch streamer here. So, you guys get what you pay for. But I move the compressor out to the hallway when I'm going to stream and airbrush, so it's not quite as loud. All right, here we go. Yeah, that's a lot better. Turns out it's much easier to airbrush when you have air. And so really, like I said, I'm just going around here now and sort of doing the same thing I used to do with a rattle can, except it's a lot easier. And a lot better. I'm just going in and getting yellow, this base yellow pretty much everywhere. It's still picking up a little bit of the undertones because it's still I'm still putting on pretty thin. So you can see it. You can see a little bit of the priming through it, so it's influenced by the brightness of the white or the darkness of the gray and the black. And that's going to just, help me set up, a little bit of shadow. Like I said, these are, I'm just painting these up. This is just an army to paint. I'm not trying to do a spectacular job with these guys. I will take one of the outlaws, and because I think we're going to use it. I think we're going to try and use it in the JOR. So I'll take one of the outlaws and give it some more attention to detail, so that I can photograph it and give it to John to use, I hope. Or maybe not. It just depends on how it comes out. Get that on camera. I guess that would help. So yeah, we make school buses where I work, and it struck me as hilarious when I got home and started doing this afternoon. I was like, these are school buses. So, makes me wonder, what is it like on those fringe worlds for kids to get to school? What's that like? Do you have to worry about the rock coming and stealing you? Do you You have to go on a transport, like a Simba carriage or whatever they've renamed the Simba as, the one that's the actual transport. A little bit more in there. All right. Just kind of gigantically yellow. Monorails and VR. Yeah, seriously. CAV, there's got to be some backwoods parts of the CAV universe. I mean, one of the big differences between CAV and BattleTech, and my favorite difference, one of the favorite differences, is the fact that, CAV is a high-tech place, right? So we haven't lost the technology. We still know how to make things. We don't really have to scrap and salvage and things like that. We just order new tanks and CAVs when we need them. But, there's got to be some places that are just, less developed, maybe is the right word to use there. All right, pop that guy out of there and put in another one. Little Timmy's manning the particle bolt gun in the back. I like the sound of that. I mean, there's got to be... All right, I made this work a minute ago. Oh, yeah, there we go. The TV shows are probably very interesting as well, or vid or whatever they have VR nowadays. So I can only imagine what kind of crazy stuff the teenagers are into in the CAV universe. Gosh, who knows? Deliverance CAV edition. There you go. Hunt for Red October CAV edition. Not Red October. Red Dawn. God, I'm terrible at movies. I should stop now. Should stop right now. So no, John has been working away furiously at the Badger, that drop ship that he's making out of MDF for us. Heard he had some success with that today. There might have even been like a more advanced print than the one that we saw recently. I won't say any more, but because I've not seen any more. I just heard words that said progress was progressing. I could see a CAV hunt for Red October. Yeah, that would be interesting. There's bound to be stealth CAVs or something like that. Just to hide a new superplanetary bomber that's defecting. Yeah, there we go. Something along those lines, right? We need more of those kind of fun scenarios. Sometimes I think that, CAV is certainly all about balance, but sometimes I think you don't need balance. You need hilarity. You need things that are just like a hoot. Just like, okay, I've got a warden that's almost out of fuel, and I got to escape. Just some crazy, insane, this is never going to happen, but we'll tell a good, Dukes of Hazzard style story or something about trying to get away from Boss Rock and crap like that. All references I probably shouldn't be using, and probably nobody else remembers. I do remember WandaVision, though. I'm enjoying the craminently out of that show. There's just every time that I watch an episode, I'm like, oh my God, I want to see the rest of this show so bad. I'm excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm excited for the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League. It's going to drop March 18th, I believe. Saw that last night. Which is the day before the first release of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So that's going to be an epic week of superhero goodness. which is my other favorite thing besides big stompies. I guess I should make sure that stays on the camera a little bit. I'm terrible at this. All right. I noticed we seem to have a lot of new folks over on the Discord. I should have gone over there and mentioned that we were streaming tonight. See if any of those were interested. Just watched episodes 3 to 6 yesterday. It has, well, I won't use the word surprisingly, but God, I'm just so easy to please. You could, I don't know. I like comic books. I like the comic book universes. I like the comic book characters, generally speaking. So most anything in that genre is going to do it for me. I was expecting great things, and I think they've delivered great things, and I'm super excited to see what they do. I like it when they bring, some of the actors, like the reoccurring characters. So like Kat Denning is playing, I can't think of her character's name. She's playing the brilliant astrophysicist that got called in to help analyze the problem. She was in the Thor series of movies. It's just cool to see her character progressing and, like reoccurring and things like that. I think I would remember how to do this. There we go. Got to turn it point on to get it to lock in. I couldn't get this. I do like these Citadel bases, but I couldn't get the small one to hold the big base, and the big one will only barely hold this 40 millimeter base that John made for me. So it's been a little struggle holding on to miniatures today, but we'll persevere. Yeah. That guy is fantastic. In fact, I heard somebody mention this. I saw somebody mention this on the internet, but it would just blow me away if there was if they could make sort of like an X-Files-y show with that Agent Wu and Monica Rambeau. That would be bleeping amazing. I would really enjoy that. I hope he gets a lot of play. That Agent Wu character. I need to learn the actor's name. Pretty standard for me. This has had a lot of twists. Yeah, Gimli, and that's the thing I love about it. So I like the standard formula. I like watching superhero shows. It's okay with me, like to watch basically the same kind of show all the time. I love the old Star Trek, right? It was go to the planet, find the problem, figure out the problem, solve the problem, tell the moral of the story. Done. I'm okay with that. I enjoy that sort of thing. And so the superhero shows that follow their traditions are good by me. But when they do break them and they plot twist and they do it in clever ways like they have, in my opinion, in the WandaVision shows, I eat that stuff up. If we really did paint it the same hobby store, you guys would get tired of me because I just love everything. I'm easily happy. And I like talking about stuff. I like hearing about things I don't understand. I like learning how things work that I don't understand. I'm a sponge. I like to absorb everything. I should have sang the Wheels on the Bus song for my yellow school bus cab force. It's funny. I don't know if everybody else's custom paint schemes end up being so mockable, but one of my very first ones that I painted, in fact, the paint scheme that I took to the very first CAV tournament that I ever went to. I didn't realize until afterwards that somebody pointed out it was kind of like a Pokeball. It was a red on one side and white on the other with like a blackish blue stripe down the center. I was like, oh yeah, that does look kind of like a Pokeball. I didn't realize. And now I got the Magic School Bus theme going on. It's just, I don't know. I should just paint memes, apparently. Cthulhu burned out on the superhero movies. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but it is the genre of the I don't know, decade or millennia or whatever it is you want to call it. You're right. There have been a ton of superhero movies, and if they're not exactly your cup of tea, I get it. Now the Resident Evil. All right, so I've Resident Evil. So those kind of horror-y games are not my cup of tea. I think I've seen a few bits and pieces of some of the Resident Evil movies. I think. Is there a scene where the good guys are trying to sneak through a hallway and it's got lasers crisscrossing everywhere and they're trying to sneak through it and it ends up cutting somebody up into little bitsies? Is that a Resident Evil scene or am I thinking of something else? Okay. All right. So I've seen parts of that. What is that actress's name? Because I've seen her in bunches of things. What have I seen her in? Wasn't she in Monster Hunter? Is that the same actress? The movie that just came out like back in the fall or back around Christmas, Monster Hunter? Is that her? I don't know. It sounds about right. Mila Jovovich? Yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, I love her as an action hero. She does a fantastic job. I just, the whole like gory, like cut people up sort of genre of movies is not my thing. But it's not terrible. I don't hate them or anything. I'm not drawn to them the way I am like the superhero movies. But yeah, I'd be down to see a Resident Evil movie. That'd be all right. You're right, and obviously we need movies at all right now because of the whole COVID crap, but. Yeah, I would be down for something besides some superhero movies. I admit there have been a ton of superhero movies. But that being said, it's not like I'm not going to go see the ones they're going to put out. I'm going to be in line whenever they open back up to see Black Widow. I'm going to watch every episode of Disney's Marvel stuff. All of that stuff. I don't know. It's from my youth. I'm really just a big kid. I love playing with toys and just watching things. I'm a gigantic fan of the old Batman '66 show. When I was a little kid, it was in reruns. So that came out in '66, and I was 2 years old in '66. So I didn't watch it when it was originally released, but I watched it in rerun in I can remember from the late '60s. In the early 70s watching that show and lots of other things. I can remember watching Neil Armstrong take the very first step on the moon live on black and white television. Actually, we might have had a color television. I can't recall exactly. But yeah, so I love reliving my childhood and superheroes and comics and, all that stuff are just, foundational to my childhood. So the way, I have a lot of younger friends, guys in their 30s and whatnot that are just gigantic Star Wars fans, right? And I like Star Wars, and I was fairly young when Star Wars came out, but not kid young. I was a teenager. And so I enjoyed the movies. I thought they were fantastic, but it didn't make that kind of impression on me that it did on these 30, 35, 40-year-olds that I'm buddies with. They are just ate up with Star Wars. They know so much about Star Wars, they could get a degree in it, some of them. And that's all well and good. I don't have a problem with that. It's just, for me, that was Batman and, the comics and stuff like that. Gimli, I'm older than John. I probably, hey, Steve Brule, Dr. Steve Brule over from Discord. Nice to see you, buddy. I was just saying that I should have came over there and reminded people that we were streaming tonight. But I forgot because I'm bad at this. And Gimli, you're welcome. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, obviously, but in the current set of people that I know that are interested in CAV, I think I'm the oldest person. There are a couple of people that John worked with that do some writing that one of them might be as old as me, but I think I'm the elder member of the club. Which is funny because there's been a couple of times when I made John laugh or something, and John would make the comment, it's like, James, you're like my own kid. And I'm like, yeah, except I'm older than you, John. So can't work out that way. So yeah, Gimli, I'm definitely not young. Oh wow, Gimli, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you guys are definitely the youngins, but that's okay. I mean, absolutely. It's great to me to see so many young talent, like I'm talking to a bunch of kindergartners or something. It's awesome to see the people that are excited for the hobby aspect, that love giant robots, that are excellent painters. You guys are just awesome. I am happy to be here, hanging out with you guys. I wish, this is virtually us hanging out at the game store after work, painting miniatures, playing games, stuff like that, although we don't actually get to play games. I wish we really did live close enough so that we could all do that together, because I am 100% certain we would get along quite well and have a good time. Especially if you like pizza, because damn, I love pizza. And my wife won't let me have it enough because she doesn't like pizza. I need somebody to eat pizza with. All right. Yellow. Well, maybe not everywhere. You know what, Dr. Steve Brule? Don't sell yourself short, buddy. Everybody starts somewhere. And the whole goal with the hobby is to make yourself happy. You just have to tell yourself, what do you want to accomplish? Do you want to be a good painter? There's so many resources out there for you to learn how to be a good painter. It's crazy. Do you just want to paint up armies? Perfectly fine. Just go for it. Yeah. Gimli. You're well on your way to being an excellent painter. I think you probably already qualify for that word. You just need to add all the shiny bits and pluses and PhDs and all that other stuff behind it. Keep learning. Yeah. There are tons of super good painters out there. I mean, nowadays with YouTube and Twitch, it's so easy to get access to the people that have figured this stuff out, or have the right kind of like real world art training to know how to go about doing things, or just people that are just have learned through hook and crook, just by experimenting and trying and picking up tips from other people. There's so many resources. If you decide you want to be an excellent painter, it's just a matter of grinding out the time, doing your 10,000 hours. Figuring out what it is you really want to accomplish. And if you just want to be a guy that has painted miniatures, which is kind of what I am, just go for it. Just have fun. Paint your miniatures up and make yourself happy. But yeah, well, thanks for dropping by, Mr. Steve Brule. Really excited to have you here. give you the little speech that I usually give at the beginning of the show. I'm not here to teach anybody how to paint. I don't really know that I'm qualified to teach anybody how to paint. I know a few tricks. I've been doing this for a long time. So, I mean, I have some idea of what to do. We're just here hanging out. This is us hanging out at the local game shop, working on our figures, talking about how we're going to destroy Ross Hines at the CAV tournament, which is probably not going to happen, by the way. Unless your name is Todd Farnholtz, chances are you're not beating Mr. Ross Hines. He's awfully good at what he does. And what he does is beat people at CAV. Yeah. So, Mr. Brule, just in case you don't know, we have CAV CON, virtual CAV CON is the last weekend in March. So I don't know the dates. Just look at the calendar. Whatever the last weekend is, that's when it is my understanding. Mr. Brule, Mr. Doctor, we have a handful of shows here on Talent Games channel. Mondays is me. Yeah, sure. You have me at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Mondays, just doing hobby hangout, talking, hanging out, having a good time. Tuesdays, Terrain Day with John. Probably you're going to get a lot of the dropship, the Badger dropship tomorrow. I bet you see a ton of that. But in general, he's working on boards and, big models, things like that. Just projects that he's got going on for the company. When COVID is not around, John does a lot of physical conventions. He goes to lots of places where he can demo the game and show the game off. So he likes to have a really good-looking booth and excellent-looking terrain. So it's visually impressive, and it is fantastic. 99% of the time, when I walk into a convention that John's at, his booth is the feature booth. And then Wednesday, John and I get together and just he talks, and I kind of occasionally try and steer him in a direction to maybe help him stay on focus or give us a tip that he wasn't expecting, just stuff like that. Saturdays at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time is one of the sculptors, Mr. Chris. Chris Lewis. He's working on various CAV projects. You can watch him 3D model upcoming CAVs tanks, some 28 millimeter infantry, 32 millimeter, whatever scale they are, full size infantry. The same sort of scale that a regular, like a role playing model would be. And then once a month, the third Thursday, which happens to be this Thursday, myself and Ross Hines, who is a fantastic artist. He's an art teacher, and a deadly CAV gamer player. He and I will get together on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time here on Twitch, and we're just talking. So Ross lives in the middle of nowhere, so it's just a picture of him and his voice coming across the phone, and then me on the screen. Lately, we've been joined by Todd Farnholtz, another fantastic painter and gamer, and occasionally Hugh Peebles, who's the guy that keeps posting up those fantastic conversions that I can't think of the names of that giant missile boat he keeps posting over in Discord. But yeah, that guy. We'll be on Thursday talking about some of the starter forces. Cyclops. Ilmarin, to the best of my knowledge, Ross's health is good. He's just very cautious. He and his wife are very, very cautious about what they do. So I'm not sure. But the last I heard, he was over his bout with cancer, which is something he's talked about publicly. So I don't feel too bad saying those words out loud. Hopefully, I haven't overstepped my bounds. Hopefully. Pretty sure we haven't. Yeah, I think he's doing all right. Considering, what all he had to go through at such a young age. But cross our fingers, say prayers if that's your thing. Hope his health is excellent. All right, so that is a whole lot of yellow. Where are we at? 850. All right. Steve Brule just got his first airbrush gun, but he hasn't gotten the compressor yet, so kind of anxious to try it. Yeah, hard to use them without a compressor. There are ways to do it, but they involve like CO2 tanks and things like that. Probably best to go with a compressor to begin with. I'm excited to see what you do with it. Airbrushing is yes. I have actually, strangely enough, seen an old video where that was a thing, just randomly. But I that's the old way of doing things. Don't do that. Yeah, I can't imagine what it'd be like to have that toy there and not be able to. It would be like getting a brand new car and not having gas. It's like, I got to wait for the gas to get here before I can drive my Porsche or Lamborghini or whatever it is you happen to want. Oh, look at that. I guess this glove has had its day. No more glove for me. But yeah. I'm excited for you to get a chance to tinker with your airbrush. I think it's a really nice tool to have in your toolbox. I mean, it doesn't solve all the problems, but it makes things go really fast. So like all of those tanks that I showed you guys earlier, my fleet of school bus tanks. These guys, I painted all this yellow on here this afternoon when I got home from work. On all of these guys in, I don't know, about an hour and a half or so, and that was me goofing off and cutting up with my daughters and things like that. So it's a very good tool. To me, what it does, and these are words that I was taught by a much better painter than me named Kenny Boucher, is that you save a lot of time with the airbrush once you learn how to take advantage of it. But it doesn't actually save you time, because the time that you save, you spend with the brush going back and doing, the detailing, the highlighting, the edging, the blending, just all the little things. So the half or hour or an hour that you might save with the airbrush, you just put right, but you just reinvest it in doing the detail work, painting the treads, edging the highlights, maybe putting on some weathering, throwing some dirt on your base, all that kind of stuff. All right, so that's as far as I'm going to paint tonight, because I don't want to jump into starting to do the highlights of that. But again, I'm gonna break the airbrush out again tomorrow and put on some highlights here. And then I'm going to take an oil paint I have. This is not the paint, but I'm going to take an oil paint I have that's about this color. I'm going to make me an oil wash, and I'm going to come in here and wash these guys back down to pick out the details and to create shadows. At least that's the plan. And then we're going to see where it goes from there, because I've never actually tried to wash with a bright color like this before. I mean, I have, but it was actually more of a glaze. So because I want to go fast, I'm trying to apply fast techniques. My goal is to take this stuff on and just kind of take a brush full of it and kind of slop it around and clean it up and push it around, let it dry, and then when it's dry, I will come back in with my airbrush and I'll reestablish my highlights with the airbrush the way I want them, and then I think I'll be about where I'm going to go. Then I'm going to take things like let's make sure you guys can actually see this. Good Lord, that's a very, very bright yellow. All right, so like the gun barrels here are going to go back to black. These are like, I don't know, like in historical tanks, these look like 55-gallon drums to me. So I'm going to paint them back to some accessory color. Obviously the treads and the sprockets and the wheels will pick up, some metals and some black and browns, maybe some dirt, maybe some weathering powders, I'm not sure. But then I'm going to come in and just to give it a little bit of a, like a high-tech look, I'm going to paint, because these are Malvernus, right? And a lot of times thank you very much, Steve, Mr. Dr. Brule. I'll mention, Ilmarin, if you could send me a message, maybe detailing what you're talking about, I will try and get John to clean that up. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but I'll do my best to get that cleaned up. So my goal here is to come in and paint like a kind of a purpley blue, not a purpley blue, a black stripe, kind of a wide black stripe, like right down through here, with just a hint of purple in it. So I'm going to take my black and mix a little bit of purple in it, so it's just got a little hint of purple. And this is hard to describe, so I'm going to have this broad black stripe here, and then right next to it I'm going to try and paint a very thin purple stripe. So there's going to be a wide black stripe and a purple stripe. In fact, I may just wrap like part of this turret. I may come around this corner here. And I'm just going to kind of pull that thought process through all of the models. There's going to be kind of an accent. I won't call it a racing stripe, but kind of an accent of black and purple to go with this yellow. At least that's my plan. I posted a picture up of it over on the Discord. I found one of the 40K flyers. I don't remember, Storm Raven or something like that somebody had painted up really nicely in a yellow with a black stripe and some red trim and things like that. And I just wanted to kind of try and emulate that paint scheme for this particular CAV force. And so that's the goal. I hope to have the yellows completely done this week, so that I can get to painting the, like the accessory bits and whatnot over the weekend, so that hopefully by, not this weekend, but the weekend after, which I guess would be right at the end of February, these guys should hopefully be kind of done. Wow, I'm getting inundated with all this good stuff here. Over on Discord. Oh yeah. I'll point that out. I'll try and get him to clean that up. He's had his head wrapped around this badger intensely. Oh wow. I'm sorry. Now I'm reading your holy crackamole, Cthulhu. What are these fluorescent thingies that you've posted up in Discord? Scale 75 fluorescence. Are those acrylics? Good grief. You guys should be running this show, not me. I didn't even know those things existed. Talk about bright. Now I want to paint some neon glass, like, cyberpunky, like a cab that looks like it's made out of neon glass. Wow, those are crazy. I'm excited to see what we can do with those. Do you have those, Cthulhu? Have you messed with those at all? Or is that just something that's on your list? Because I am super curious to know what those are like. God forbid, now I need to buy another set of paints. Cthulhu, you're a bad person. Stop it. All right. We're starting to wrap up here. I've kind of been through the schedule, so everybody knows what's going on this week. CAV Con's coming up in March. I really encourage you. There's definitely going to be some kind of a painting competition, and competition is a very loose word. More like submit something you painted for CAV Con and probably get entered in a drawing sort of thing. So, Ross and Hugh and Todd and I are all trying to put together like an entire force as if we were going to actually go play. I'm just summarizing things I've heard John say. He hasn't made an official announcement, but he has encouraged people, I've heard him say this, to paint something up for virtual CAV Con. There will be prizes. So that sounds to me like there's, again, I hate to say the word competition, but a painting event in which one could win some bauble that has a CAV basis. So yeah, Gimli. Show up on Wednesday or tomorrow if you like, but Wednesday for sure. I will do my best to try and get John to give us some better idea of what's going on with that. He really needs to kind of hammer out a schedule. It's a month and a half away. We need to kind of have some sense of what people can expect. But I know for sure there's going to be, he's encouraging people to paint up models for virtual CAV Con alongside the four of us. And there's going to be like, yeah, absolutely, Gimli. Absolutely. Paint up a whole force. Submit the whole thing. That's what I'm doing here. I'm painting up a Malvernus force. Literally, I would play these if we were going to actually have a physical CAV Con this year. But, there's going to be all kinds of fun stuff. There's going to be like, a goodie bag you can order and buy. Just all kinds of fun things. As many cool things as we can do without physically being together. And we're still hoping that later in the year, when I say we, I don't work for the company. I'm just a friend of John who likes to help him. Ha ha, Gimli, you can't, you're not that slow. I'm slow. You're just you're just shifting from first to second. I'm like in reverse going backwards. But there is some hope that later in the year we're going to have some chances to have physical conventions where maybe we get a chance to play. In the past, John has attended ReaperCon, and that's where we did the big CAV tournament inside of the context of ReaperCon. I don't know if that's going to happen again this year, but it's been a ton of fun. I mean, my favorite part about it is sitting around the hotel lobby afterwards, when the bar is open, just hanging out with other people that really like to talk about CAV after we played a few games. And, we get John to talking about stuff, and we just share stories and tell about, how many sixes that my opponent rolled against me. It's fantastic. It's just great camaraderie. And I'm looking forward to having that feeling again and hopefully getting a chance to meet some of you. But anyway, that's it for tonight. Join us again just pretty much every Monday, barring weirdness. 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Come and join me, hang out, have a good time. Post your stuff up in Discord. Join us on Facebook. Be safe in this crazy weather we're having. Be safe with COVID. But last but not least, do something nice, all right? Next time you get a chance, you're at the store, you're going through the drive-thru at the bank, you're ordering something from McDonald's or wherever you like to get your food. Just, do something. Give somebody a compliment. Help a little lady across the street. That's the old cliche, but, just be good to somebody. Then that person will be good to somebody. Those people will be good to somebody. Next thing you know, the world's a little bit better place. Sorry to be preachy. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you folks later. Bye.